Okay, let's jump right in. Something huge is going on across China right now. It's this quiet revolution, not happening out in the streets, but inside people's homes, in their daily routines, in their minds. We're talking about a massive shift in what people care about, and health is right there at the very top of the list. And look, this isn't just about, trying to avoid getting sick. This is a total cultural shift. We're seeing well-being, both physical and mental, become this central part of who people are, what they strive for, and how they live their lives every single day. So how do we know all this? Well, we're not just guessing. Everything we're about to go through comes straight from a major study by Ipsos. They're a huge global research company. They went out and surveyed adults all across China's big cities to get a real picture of the nation's health, looking ahead to 2025. And that really is the big question, isn't it? What's actually happening here? What's behind this huge focus on well-being? Is it just stress? Is it new ambitions? Or is it something else entirely? Well, let's get into the numbers and find out. First things first, we've got to understand just how big this is. This is not some niche trend for just the wealthy or the young. Nope, being health conscious has gone completely and totally mainstream. And the data proves it. On a 10-point scale, the average level of concern about health is climbing. It was already super high at 8.65 back in 2022, and it's projected to hit 8.84. Now, that might not sound like a huge leap, but when you spread that across hundreds of millions of people, it shows a really clear trend. Health is just getting more and more important to more and more people year after year. Okay, so if everybody is more concerned, what are they actually concerned about? Well, it turns out there are three big worries that have been at the top of the list for a while now. They're kind of the classics. Topping the charts with 38% of people worried about it is digestive and gut health. And this isn't a huge surprise. The idea is really deep-rooted in traditional Chinese medicine, but with today's high-stress city life and modern diets, it's become more urgent than ever. Right behind that, at 36%, is immunity. I mean, after the last few years, who isn't worried about this? But in China's incredibly dense cities, the desire to have a strong body that can fight off illness is a core, everyday thing. And finishing up the top three, at 30%, is something we can all relate to: sleep, or the lack of it. In a society that's famous for its work hard, work long culture, a good night's sleep isn't a guarantee. It's something precious that people are scared of losing. So there you have it: gut health, immunity, and sleep. These are the big three, the timeless pillars of health anxiety. But wait, that's only half the story, because the really fascinating stuff in this report is what's bubbling up just underneath these classic worries. This is where we start to see what modern life really looks like. What are the new anxieties? And this is where the data gets super revealing. We're moving away from the traditional stuff and diving into the health problems that truly define the pressure of living in a city today. The first one is a big one: fatigue. Just that feeling of being totally drained, of having no energy. What's so important here is that it's the great equalizer. Almost a quarter of all adults feel this way. And it doesn't matter if you're a young professional or nearing retirement. The numbers are almost identical across every age group. It's like a shared national exhaustion. But here's where it gets interesting. If fatigue is what connects everyone, mental health is what divides them. Because unlike that exhaustion, the pressure of mental health is not spread out evenly at all. It hits one group incredibly hard: adults between 25 and 35. For them, stress and low moods aren't just small worries. They're huge health crises, right up there with their concerns about sleep or immunity. And get this, it's not just a problem, it's an accelerating one. For this specific group of young professionals, their concern about mental health jumped by a massive 10% in just 1 year. This isn't a stable issue. It's a rapidly growing crisis, and it's concentrated in the generation that's facing the most intense career and life pressure. And beyond that, the very definition of health is getting bigger. It's starting to include appearance and what you might call status anxieties. A huge 23% are worried about hair loss, and the data shows this is an especially big deal for high-income folks in the top-tier cities. After that, you've got worries about aging and weight. It just goes to show how much health and personal image are getting tangled together. Okay, so we've just thrown a lot of numbers at you. We've seen the classic worries, and we've seen the new modern pressures. So what's the bottom line? What does it all mean? Let's boil it all down to three key takeaways. So, what have we learned? First off, health is now universal. It's a baseline priority for pretty much everyone. Second, our anxieties are changing. The modern fight for wellness is a fight against being tired and mentally drained. And third, and this might be the most important takeaway of all, there is a serious generational divide. The mental health crisis hitting young professionals is a huge and growing story. When you put it all together, what you're really seeing is an entire society trying to figure out what it even means to be healthy anymore. It's not just about not being sick. It's about having energy, feeling mentally strong, and keeping up appearances under all this pressure. And that leaves us with one final, pretty fascinating question to think about. As this definition of health keeps getting bigger and bigger, what's next? What's going to be the next big health obsession that we're all talking about? The data gives us a great map of where we are today, but it's pretty clear that the journey to well-being is far from over.